for short attention spans. Republican lobbyist Bruce Mehlman does my job in 140 characters. Huge news week ahead. Who does Mueller indict? Who's next Fed chair? How will House pay for tax cuts? Who killed JFK? Need coffee plus add Axios. One big thing, Trump goes to China. President Trump leaves Friday for the most consequential foreign trip of his presidency, a 5-country, 12-day tour of Asia. It's the longest visit to Asia by an American president in a quarter of a century. The stakes couldn't be higher. North Korea races towards a miniaturized nuke that can hit American cities. China keeps propping up North Korea, stealing U.S. intellectual property and forcing American investors to hand over their technology to Chinese state entities. And American businesses watch with horror as Trump flirts with blowing up the landmark U.S. trade deal with South Korea. In the midst of all this, Trump will try to reassure America's treaty allies in the region that even as he's throwing trade relationships into flux, he won't be the U.S. president that abandons the Asia-Pacific and leaves American allies there vulnerable to Chinese domination. Trump wants to dramatically show his commitment to the region and to the post-World War II order that the U.S. built up in Asia. He'll visit several military bases and will flex America's military power. Over the past few days, I've spoken to senior administration officials about what to expect from the trip. Here's what I've learned. Big picture, you won't hear any major new policy announcements, but Trump will hammer on 2 themes: physical security, aka North Korea and China's nefarious behavior in the South China Sea, and economic security, aka reshaping U.S. trade with Asian countries. The first 2 legs, Japan and South Korea, Trump will mostly address physical security, including a major speech at the National Assembly in Seoul. South Korea's President Moon Jae-in has invited Trump to visit the military base, Camp Humphreys. Administration officials expect the visit to the military base will highlight 2 things: that South Korea is sharing the financial burden of its defense and that President Moon, who campaigned as a liberal dove, is now fully committed to defending his country against an emboldened Kim Jong-un. The final 2 legs, Trump visits Vietnam for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) Summit, a free trade forum for 21 Pacific Rim economies. Finally, Trump attends the Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) summit in the Philippines. The White House considers China the fulcrum of the trip, and it's deliberately positioned that way, as the middle stop of the 5 countries. The consensus view at the highest level of the Trump administration is that multiple U.S. administrations have pursued the same failed China strategy, and that the economic relationship between the 2 countries is getting worse, not better. The way Trump sees it, China already knows what the U.S. needs, because every time an American president visits Beijing, he announces the same litany of complaints and demands. China, in Trump's view, does the bare minimum to stop American complaining for a while, only to continue to take advantage of the U.S. economically. But, that all sounds nice, but I still have no idea what Trump plans to do to change the situation with China. Nobody I've spoken to inside the White House will tell me. Bottom line, Trump knows past policies haven't worked when it comes to China and North Korea. But we still have no idea how the Trump administration plans to achieve its stated goal of denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. 2. Scoop: Bannon's call with Trump. In a Friday night phone call, President Trump's former chief strategist and enforcer Steve Bannon told Trump he was going off the chain to destroy Paul Singer, a New York hedge fund billionaire who is one of the most influential donors to the Republican Party. Trump agreed with Bannon that it needed to be done, according to 2 sources familiar with the conversation. Though I'm also told that Trump has since told at least one other person that Singer is on the team, suggesting that maybe he's telling everyone what they want to hear. And a cautionary note for those wanting to oppose Singer, a source familiar with the arrangements told me that Singer has already made a major commitment and cut substantial checks to outside groups to support the president's tax reform push. Why this matters. Bannon spoke to Trump shortly after the New York Times broke the news that a Singer-funded conservative website first paid for anti-Trump research by the firm, Fusion GPS, that later produced the infamous Russia dossier. The dossier alleges that the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government to influence the 2016 presidential election. It also contains unsubstantiated sexual allegations. A source close to Singer said the billionaire had no idea who Fusion GPS was until they became a subject of news reports related to Trump and Russia. Though the source added that of course Singer generally knew, and it was public knowledge, that the website he funds, the Washington Free Beacon, paid for opposition research. Free Beacon editors told the outlet had nothing to do with the dossier that the Clinton campaign funded. Since the story broke, the president has told several people he views the NIT revelations as a win for Republicans because they show that only Democrats and the Clinton campaign paid for the controversial dossier produced by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele. Trump's tweets this morning reinforced that message. Never seen such Republican anger and unity as I have concerning the lack of investigation on Clinton-made fake dossier. In their Friday phone call, Bannon told Trump he had been looking for a long time to set things right with Singer and his entire crew, according to a source familiar with the conversation. Since the NIT story broke, Bannon's right-wing media outlet, Breitbart News, has been relentlessly attacking Singer and calling on politicians who have taken money from him to return the donations. Background: Trump loathed Singer during the campaign, when the billionaire was a lead financier of the Never Trump movement. But the two made up earlier this year, and Singer has been financially very helpful since Trump won the presidency. He donated $1 million to Trump's inauguration and has supported various administration efforts including funding the successful outside campaign to back the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. Bottom line, Bannon has long despised Singer. In Bannon's worldview, Singer belongs to a globalist cabal that favors open borders and includes other bogeymen and bogeywomen such as George Soros and Hillary Clinton. It's also helpful to Bannon that Singer has close ties to Mitch McConnell, the Senate GOP leader whom Bannon is obsessed with destroying. Based on my reporting so far, however, I'd be surprised if Trump publicly joins the fight against one of the most important donors in Republican politics. 3. A week from hell. House Republicans in charge of tax reform face a hellish few days before they finally release their bill on Wednesday. The chairman of the Tax Writing Committee, Kevin Brady, is trying to find hundreds of billions of dollars to pay for a slashing of the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%. He's painfully learning, as every politician who attempts tax reform inevitably learns, that lawmakers and interest groups won't give up their favored tax breaks without a fight.